Finally, What's the Catch? By Joseph Heller in CATCH-22. CATCH-22 itself is sort of a nightmare, I could probably describe it in. Let me just go into the notes real quick. Now, CATCH-22 works out in, like this. First off, you have a catch. Like, let's say, you need to get the keys to your car. But the keys to your car are located right here, and your car's locked. So what do? You do what any sensible person does, don't you? You decide to open the car door. Unfortunately for you, the car is locked, and the only way to unlock it is the key. And the key is in the car, and you understand my drift, don't you? So, that's CATCH-22. Another example that I really want to share with you is it's like one of the perfect dilemmas that anyone could ever imagine up of. It's that, well, first of all, you need to get a job. But to get a job, you need experience. But to get experience, you need to get a job. But to get a job, you need experience, and vice versa. You loop the loop around until something breaks, I suppose. That's pretty much what CATCH-22 is. Except in the book, CATCH-22 was the first time that this thing was coined. And Joseph Heller, the guy who first used this term, said that CATCH-22 literally would mean something on the lines of contradiction. Because in his book, there was a law, which was technically a CATCH-22. And I suppose you could say that it basically went along the lines of you want to go home, you have to be insane to go home. But if you ask to go home, you're not insane, you're sane. You have to fly more missions. And if you don't want to fly more missions, and if you're insane, you can go home. You can ask to go home. But as soon as you finish asking that you want to go home, you're sane, because it's completely sane to want to go home. Well, that is the worst catch. That's kind of the biggest catch I've ever heard in my entire life, as well as the most dumbest and the most smartest catch I've ever thought of in my entire life as well, too. Seriously, CATCH-22 itself was never meant to go ahead like this, I suppose. Originally, CATCH-22 was supposed to be called Catch-18. Then, of course, there was this guy who decided to call his book something 18, exact same syllables. And so they decided to change it to, Catch-14. Excuse me, 11. Then they realized it didn't work, so they changed it to 14. Because it sounded correct, but they realized that 14 was an ugly number. Then they changed it to CATCH-22. And they're like, nice. Speaking of nice, you go ahead and get this CATCH-22 thing on the road. Mainly because CATCH-22's ingenious part is to keep the war going. Yeah, sure, it is the final months of World War II. And fortunately for them, though, their lives of misery will be over in a few months. Unfortunately for them, though, that can't come fast enough. So what they do is that they go ahead and they create a CATCH-22 to keep this anxiousness, insanity in check, so that they'll still be anxious for war. Anxious minds make really good war machines, apparently. Not sure where that came from, but apparently that's the whole point of CATCH-22, to keep everyone in there. And they're corporals, they're colonels, they're majors, yeah, those things. They're all insane. Major, only accepts visitors when he's not in his office, or when he can't even be found anywhere. And one of the colonels decided, going to the most dangerous place in the entire world, even though you guys are so inexperienced, you can't do it! Just because he wanted to get a promotion, even though he had no chance of getting promotion whatsoever. And I'm so surprised that someone that managed to come out luckily alive. Don't question me. And now I haven't even get to the illogical parts of this whole thing yet. Now, the thing about these illogical parts is that they are all illogical. As I mentioned earlier with the I'm just gonna call him M, because Major is literally his name. Apparently his full name is Major. And his rank, Major. How did he get the rank of Major? Because his name is Major, and the computer made a mistake of creating that as his rank. So his name is now Major. Very stupid, I know. But somehow that's in the book. Anyways, that person, I already mentioned, only accepts visitors when he's not at home. Other people literally do things that seem quite logical too. Take this guy. Take Milo, for example. Take Milo. He seems to be pretty honest businessman, except he does some shady things as well too. But we all respect him in the beginning, because at least he's earning money from all the crazy lunatic bureaucrats that force him to do crazy stuff. but then we find out what he's really doing. Now, here's the German flag in blue, and here's the American flag as well, too. Here's the thing about you. He's getting bribes from Germany to bomb Americans, and he's getting bribes from Americans, because he's American, to bomb Germany. So, if you take a look at all this, he's getting double income, and he has to sign contracts, and he doesn't have to do a thing. Just sign his name twice. That's all he has to do. And I'm pretty sure you're surprised on how he managed to do all that. But fortunately for us, that's not exactly what happened. For me, though, CATCH-22 itself was pretty loathsome. At the start of the book, I thought that it would just be as the cover said. I heard of its reputation as one of the most craziest American novels, especially for a war novel, that you've ever read about. But then again, I also heard good things about it, so I tried it, and it was terrible at the beginning. Illogical reasoning, and somehow a catch being the best way to keep the mind sharp for a war. Who does that anymore? Who does that? And I loved it, because of the ingenious behind CATCH-22. The ingenuity that it probably took to engineer something like that and put it into someone's brain, that was just incredible, and I couldn't really get that out of my mind. And I'm probably going to try CATCH-22 someday with my kids, but until that day comes, which won't happen for decades, I suppose. I'm still young, people. I'm still young. Then until that day comes, I'm just going to stay here for pretty much a long time. Illogical. That's the only way I can describe it. Illogical. So, until that day literally comes, I cannot do anything about this. And, of course, all these contradictions were also illogical. But even if they were illogical, they were kind of ingenious. Even though the colonel had no hope of getting the rank of general, he tried. Even if it was against all logic. He tried. And I suppose he succeeded. So, I hope you guys enjoyed that illogical stuff. And now it's time to move on towards another topic I really want to talk about. Reactions towards the book. The book itself really had mixed reviews. Now, the thing about this thing is that, let me just read to you some of the modern reviews of the book itself. Yeah, my book broke. Now, CATCH-22 is the only war novel I've ever read that makes any sense. Harper Lee. Oh, and this one's pretty good. To my mind, there have been two great American novels in the past 50 years. CATCH-22 is one of them. Stephen King. Now, these reactions themselves are quite modest, if you ask me, and they are quite underrated, if you know what I'm talking about. But the thing about this is that CATCH-22 itself is one heck of a thing. It's a masterpiece, sure, and it's the war novel to end all war novels. I haven't read any good war novels after this one, but it is quite unforgettable, and it is fantastically unique. The thing about it, though, is that that's not all the praises that it's getting. It got its criticisms. Nothing is short of its criticisms. It got criticisms of being, like, really bad. It got criticisms of being, like, well, terrible. But in the end, we were able to make it work out. In the end, we were able to make sure that this book was something that was loved. It made you hate it, and it made you cry. No other book has ever done that. That's pretty much all we're getting, and that's the only review I'm going to give you before I end this video. So, I really hope you guys enjoyed this episode. I hope to see you guys soon, and until next time we meet, Sean out. Peace. So long. It was a great reading you, CATCH-22.